Riverside.
Welcome to the Vehicle City Sound Podcast. This is volume 2025, episode number 9, our air date Thursday, February 27th, 2025. I am your host, C. Willie. I am joined again this week by
Butter Pete,
who has still kept me in the house. I'm surprised and grateful. We also have with us tonight very, very special guest coming to us all the way from Colorado, Tim Meegan Jr. from Tim Meegan Jr. and the 105s. Welcome, Tim.
For having me.
Well, we appreciate you coming on the show. And to start things off, and other bands, please take note. Tim hit us up with some really cool swag before the show. Sent us an album that we're going to be talking about tonight, as well as one that he recorded himself earlier. As we get through the show, you'll hear a lot more about Race Against Time, which will be released tomorrow. This show airing on February 27th. On the 28th, Tim and the band have a album release party there in Colorado Springs. We'll talk a little more about that. But Tim, tell us a little bit. I really would like to know how you describe your sound, because to me it is very soulful country.
Man, that's a tough one. I don't, I think people label me as country right away, because I think some of the artists that inspired me, but I think what people don't realize is I have a big different genres of music that I really, really love and I pull from.
Mm-hmm.
So I never try to get too much into hey, this is what I am, I'm a country act. I never try to say that. I like to tell people that I like to write truth in everything that I
love
do.
that.
And so, other than one song all songs are true. One song is made up with elements of truth. And, so I just try to tell people I write truth about things.
Well, it's interesting you say that too, because we pride ourselves in the artists that we have on the show, that everybody has their own sound, their own genre, if you will. Yeah. And yours is certainly as defined as we've had, and just absolutely love it. I hear little elements of things as I'm listening to your music, but it is you. It is very, very unique.
Well, I appreciate that. That means the world to me.
How did you get into music? What kind of got you started?
I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
I've always been a fan of music. My dad was a musician, nothing other than bar gigs around town kind of thing. But so it was always being pumped to me. But I never did anything with it. I learned probably a couple of guitar licks as a teenager, and I just never did anything. But about 5 years ago, I realized I had about 2 years left of my GI Bill. And so I was like, well, how can I use this, to learn something? I was looking into carpentry and welding,
mm-hmm.
and it just wasn't going to work with my actual work schedule and my kids and my wife. And I was like, does guitar lessons work? And they're like, yeah. And so I started taking guitar lessons, and I started putting together, the chords that I kind of knew a little bit, and then learning rhythm and all that. And it just sort of started coming naturally. And, to be honest, my brother went to jail for murder.
Oh, no.
And I wrote a poem about it, and I put it to a song to the 3 chords I knew at the time. And it got spread within from my wife to her brother to a family friend. And they're like, this reminds me of a Townes Van Zandt song. And they're like, I want to record that.
Mm-hmm.
And so they were out of Louisiana, and they're like, we're going to come to Colorado in 3 months. Do you have any more songs? I was like, no, I don't. They're like, write more. And so they came to my house, and I had about 4, and we did that over a span of 3 sessions and that's where the first album came from.
All right.
Wow.
writing, and it was the only song I wrote. Not telling the complete truth, like that's the one song that's not completely true. It started with me thinking about my brother breaking out of jail, because I don't think he did it, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And then from there, it was therapeutic. I just started writing the stories that I lived, and yeah.
Well, and you mentioned truth, and as we were talking before we got the show kind of started, and your songs are about the truth.
Right.
That's very important to you, certainly. But as we read about you and some of the things that were written about you and the band, you guys have lived this. The
Yeah.
songs when you're talking about songs that are about the truth, these are your real experiences.
Yes.
And that, I'm sure, makes it even more genuine when you're performing this music then.
I like to think so. When it comes down to it, and people come up and they start asking, like, "Well, why'd you write this?" or whatever. Like, well, I lived it.
Yeah.
I like to be able to tell them that, and yeah.
Well, the first song that we've got queued up, to me, as I was listening to the music that you sent us for the program, this really tells a story, and I think kind of sets the stage for everything you've told us already. This song is called My Kind. Can you tell us a little bit about this one?
Yeah. Usually on stage, I often introduce it as like, "Hey, do you like Hank Williams Jr.?" Yeah, and I'm like, "You like Family Tradition?" And they're like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Well, I'm not playing that for you. I'm going to play you my version of my childhood and growing up, and the things that that have been a big part of my family. Like I love them to death, but my family's crazy, and like yeah, they burn both ends and the middle quite
Well,
often.
I'll tell you something. Both Quarter Peep and I can relate. There's no
Yes,
question
you
about that.
And yeah, I always edit I'm just like them. I am, but yeah, just tell them a story. And
Well, this one will set the path for us, folks. Let's give this a listen. This is My Kind.
Daddy loves the cocaine, Mama loves the weed. I ain't casting stones, I'm somewhere in between. Got a lot of living I may never see. Sometimes that bottle low gets the best of me. My kind don't live too long. Hellraiser, dying young. It's just like on the south side, Chicago, Illinois. Born in a trailer, bound by my name. Round here all us Meegans wind up all same. Dropping out of school, doing time, Cook County jail. It's a curse you're born into in an early grave. My kind don't live too long. Chicago, Illinois. Party all night till the sun come up. Living like we're dying just because. My kind don't live too long. Hell raising, dying young. It's just life on the south side. Chicago, Illinois.
It definitely sets the tone. There's no question about that. Tim Meegan Jr. and the 105's My Kind, great tune. And,
Thank
it strikes me that you're talking about the songwriting and just basically getting started in this, really. If you say it's been basically 4 years that you've really kind of taken this on, to
Yeah.
have that kind of a unique sound and a purpose with that is just phenomenal. We really enjoy it.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It means the world to me.
So what is your songwriting process when you're putting pen to paper? What does this look like?
I think it's, it has changed. Like, when I first started, I wrote the song that it was the only song that was never true about mine, but like, and then I wrote a few more songs that they're on that album, and like I just didn't know what I was doing really. I was just basically it was therapy for me. I was writing about experiences that happened in my life, and I blame my brother. I called him one day because I was the one sending him like the videos of it or whatever. I was like, hey, I wrote this and stuff, and I was like, I don't know how to write more, and he was just like, dude, the stories are there. Like, you're older, like you've lived them, like just write. And it was like, it just took him saying that made me go like, yeah, you're right. Like I'm not making any of this up. Like I can write about a lot of things that have happened, and, people don't like that they're sad things or that, but to me, they're more relatable to a lot of people. Instead of
No,
like,
I agree.
I'm not going to write about pickup trucks and solo cups and, like I'm going to write about the what I'm living or what I have lived and went through. And so like that little spark gave me the, no, I'm going to write about what I'm feeling. And so it's still the same thing. It's just, I try not to say the same message. It's, I guess, more now. I try to make it more broader, relatable to everybody.
Well, and you've lived the things that, as you say, are relatable to all of us. And you and your band are really blue collar, hardworking, service oriented, and that I think comes through the music certainly, but then the relatability for all of us that are listening to it. You're a veteran, correct?
Yes, sir.
And thank you for your service. Quarter Peep is a Marine as well, so we're and firefighters, service industry. You live what we live,
Yeah.
and that's really what's coming out in the music that we're hearing.
I appreciate it. That's all I can ask. That's what I'm going for.
What's interesting is that, you're like me, you're a veteran, but yet we still have this niche in us to help others somehow. So you're still in the service field. I mean, things that I do, I help people too.
Yeah.
But it's just so interesting because obviously we've always wanted to do something it's bigger than ourselves.
Yes.
And you do that through your music. what you say is amazing. It is more than relatable.
That means the world, because like I never intended to do that, but I think what started happening was that like, oh, I see that I can give back through this and write for people that, that need to hear it, or that,
Yes.
like it helps them through a bad day. Like that's the stuff I remembered, being in Iraq, or, where like a song got me through a bad day, or, like that's what it does. And that's the power. And so, yeah, that means the world to hear that. Thank you.
When you're putting together your songs, is it a contribution of the band as well, or is it a situation where you present it to the folks that you're working with and say, here's what I'm thinking?
I present it to them. So I usually write it by myself acoustically, quiet, no one around, and put it together. And then we have our practice session, and then it becomes like a molding of the minds. And well, we could speed it up here. We could do this, but and then they all add their elements to it at that point.
Super. Well, the next one that we've got queued up is 7 Deadly Sins. Tell us a little bit the backstory on this song.
This was a song I hid from my band for a long time. I hadn't quite finished it. I had the chorus, I had the 2 verses, and leading up going into Memphis, I decided to finish it because I wanted to give the band and the producer we were going to work with, like, hey, here's all the songs. Like, what do you guys think are the best? And so I wrote the final verse in it, and I showed my band one night. I just started playing it, and they're like, where the hell has that been this whole time? And my bass player especially, he was like, I like that. I like it a lot. And then I told him, what I wrote about. And basically I wrote it about someone who kind of did me wrong and was very judgy. And come to find out they had a deep, dark secret in their life. And I was like, you sat here and judged me all along, and like you were hiding this, and now the truth came out. So one day I was in the shower and I was just thinking about it, and I was like, there's whiskey in your water. Like you're lying about drinking, like kind of, it had nothing to do with drinking, but I'm like, you're lying about it.
Right.
And there's whiskey in your water and demons in your mind. And I yelled at my wife. I was like, hey, send me a text of this. And
I gotta catch it when it's hot.
I didn't want to forget it. And so it just came up with those 2 lines. And so she texted to me, and then the rest of the day I just sat there and fiddled with it and started playing it. And like when I finally had the chorus down, she came out and she was like, well, who wrote that? And I was like, that's how you know it's a good one. You've heard before.
And what does she think of it now?
Well, she loves it. It's one of her favorites. So
all right.
She knows the backstory behind it. And
yeah,
it was she had forgotten that she even texted me those lines, but the way I played it, she came out and she was like, I like that. Who wrote that one? And I was like, that's how you know it's a good one.
Exactly. Well, let's give this a listen. This is 7 Deadly Sins.
They sell their soul. I guess sometimes there's a price. There's snakes in every garden, just like there's evil in the night. Will you bother? Will you even try? With whiskey in your water, demons in your mind. There's whispers from a dark corner, knocking at your back door. Do you answer or run for your life? Will you even bother? Will you even try? Whiskey in your water, demons in your mind. We're all guilty every now and then. Pick your poison, your deadly sin. Self-destruction comes from within. Just like the path to hell is paved with good intentions. Will you even bother? Will you even try? Whiskey in your water, demons in your mind.
Yeah.
All I can think of is like the next James Bond movie, and this is the theme song.
Our producers, he brought that up a lot. He's like, these have like movie sound. Sound from a movie. So,
Well, I love that one, and it's even more interesting and has more meaning when we know the backstory too. That's really something. Tim
Yeah,
Meegan Jr. and the 105s, and that's Seven Deadly Sins.
Yeah.
Great tune. Great
Thank
tune. So we talked a little bit about this at the front end of the show. You have a big night tomorrow night. Tell us what's going to be happening in Colorado Springs.
yeah, so it's going to be our album release. I'll have the full band there, which, it gets hard to get them all together for sure. But yeah, I'll have the full band. And yeah, we're going to play that entire album. And,
Fantastic. And the album is Race Against Time.
Yes.
Okay. The album Race Against Time. This is going to be out the Phil Long Music Hall at Bourbon Brothers in Colorado Springs. Show's starting 7 p.m. tomorrow night. So we will certainly put links out as we release the show, Tim. And any of our listeners out there in the area, we want them to come up, introduce themselves, tell them that they heard it here.
Come say hi.
Absolutely. Where do folks find you, Tim? We've got some new fans that are hearing the show tonight, and they want to know where they can find you. What's the best route to get to know where you're going to be?
Everything's under Tim Meegan Jr. Music.
All right, and that's MEEGAN for folks out there. So make sure you give a listen. This last one that we've got queued up, Tim, I got to tell you, is my personal favorite of the music that you've shared with us so far. This is the Weathering Storms, and I think my interpretation as I'm listening to this is that there's so much that we can do individually. You just have to be strong and get through it. Is that kind of the line that you had with this?
Yes, it is. It was one of the last songs I wrote prior to going to Memphis, and really questioning whether or not we do this or not, because right, there's a financial side of it. There's do you believe in it yourself? Do you get your band to believe in it? Are other people going to believe in it? And I wrote the song, and I got together with my bassist, and I was like, hey man, are we going to do this? We're going to go to Memphis. And I was like, I wrote this song. And he looked at it, and he was just like, he's like, that's my life too, man. Yeah. Let's go. And it's like, I'm 41 years old, and I started music so late. And I think it was just, I'm going to follow my heart, and like I've done that through every other thing that I've done in my life, and trust my gut sort of feeling. And you have to do that. And you're going to have bad days. You're going to have storms, right? You're going to have to deal with that. And, if you ride it out, you'll be okay. And it was like, yeah, let's go. And that's where the song came from. But it's, just that you just ride it out, and you learn from it, and you learn, the mistakes, and you just keep pushing on and trying to figure it all out.
Well, I'm glad that you all believed in yourselves, because I cannot wait for this premiere party tomorrow. And the fans that are watching, this guy is phenomenal. Just please check him out.
Thank you. And thank you for the inspiration with this too, because your stories, as you mentioned, they're truth, and this it couldn't be any more true than stick it out. And if you believe in something, make it happen. So let's give this a listen. Tim Meegan Jr. and the 105s. This is Weathering Storms. Yes, that's. I'm going to wear that one out, Tim. I'm just telling you right now.
You already have.
I have.
Appreciate it. We appreciate it.
You bet. That's phenomenal.
Deserves all the credit too. I go into acoustically, but then they all add their own little flavor to it. So it's not just me; it's them too. So.
Yeah, well,
it's amazing. And again, those who are listening, make sure you go to his website, because he has these beautiful, and we're going to hold them up here. vinyl albums. Here's one. You have the other one.
Yes, I do. This is tomorrow night's.
You guys need to get.
There
You
we
need to get
go.
these online. Yes. Yes.
So get out there to that release party tomorrow night, too, if you're in the Colorado Springs area. It's at the Phil Long Music Hall at Bourbon Brothers in Colorado Springs, 7 o'clock tomorrow night. Tim will be playing, I'm sure, everything from the album, I would guess.
We're going to do the whole album, yes.
Fantastic. And it's worth the listen, every single note, folks. We really appreciate having you on, Tim. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Quarter Peep, who do we have next week?
Yeah, all the way from Washington, we have Justin White.
We're looking forward to that as well. I think that's a wrap on what we've got for tonight. Again, I want to thank Tim Meegan Jr. of the 105s and the 105s, and wish you all the best tomorrow night, Tim. I hope the show goes great, and hope you have continued success. Thank you so much for sharing everything you have with us.
Well, I appreciate that. We appreciate the support. Thank you.
Absolutely. Hey, folks out there in podcast land, we thank you very much for listening and watching. Those of you that are seeing us on YouTube, tell your friends about the show. We have been really, really grateful for all of your support. If you have another band like Tim Meegan Jr. and the 105s that you'd like us to know about, drop us an email, vehiclecitysound@gmail.com. You can also get to know everything that we're doing on the web, our website, vehiclecitysound.com. We look forward to hearing from you all there. Thanks again for being a part of the show. And hey, everybody, be good.